All right, today we're talking about something huge, a massive shift in how big tech companies are hiring. And it all really boils down to one single question. A question that, until like 5 minutes ago, had a very, very simple answer.
So can you use AI in a job interview? For years, the answer was just a flat, obvious no, right? Using outside help, especially on a coding challenge, that was cheating, full stop. But that reality is changing, and honestly, it's changing a lot faster than you probably think.
And here it is, the bombshell. Meta now says, yes, yes, you can. And let's be clear, this isn't some small startup testing the waters. This is Meta, one of the giants that pretty much sets the standard for the entire tech industry. They've made it official. AI is now allowed in their coding interviews. And that one decision, it could literally change everything.
Okay, so let's get into it. This is a surprising new rule for sure. Meta is absolutely changing the game here. Now, while it might feel kind of radical, their reason for doing it is incredibly practical. They want the interview to actually mirror the real job. And on the real job, well, their engineers are already using these tools every single day. This new way of thinking is a complete 180 from what we all know as the old grind. You know the one I'm talking about, that familiar and, let's be honest, often miserable path that so many of us have had to walk to get a job in tech.
Which brings up a pretty big contradiction, doesn't it? If one of the biggest tech companies in the world is signaling this huge change, then why are millions of people still spending all their time grinding data structures and algorithms and doing what feels like mindless LeetCode problems?
This was the playbook we were all given. A straight line, a grueling process where you just pour hundreds of hours into memorizing stuff, hoping a job offer pops out at the end. But that question mark on the last step feels more real now than ever before. Is this still the path? Meta's new rule is a pretty strong signal that the answer is no.
Which brings us to Meta's new playbook. They're not just doing this to be different or to cause a stir. No, this is a calculated, deliberate shift in what they're even testing for. Why? Because they believe the very definition of what makes a good engineer has fundamentally changed.
And just look at the contrast here. It's night and day. The past was all about testing you in this sterile, artificial vacuum, like you were stranded on a desert island with nothing but a whiteboard. The present, though, is about reality. Engineers today don't work in a vacuum. They're working side by side with tools like ChatGPT and Copilot. So Meta is basically asking, why would we interview you in a way that pretends those tools don't exist?
The new philosophy is essentially this. It's as if they're saying, okay, here you go. Here's arguably the most powerful tool ever created. Show us how you use it. The test is no longer about recalling facts from memory. It's about being resourceful. It's about strategy, and it's about putting your knowledge into practice.
So, if the old skills are becoming, let's say, less important, what should you be focusing on? This is the million-dollar question. The game has changed, and that means the skills you need to have in your pocket have changed too.
Here is a perfect example to make it crystal clear. In the past, you had to prove you could write a binary search function perfectly from memory. Today, an AI can generate that for you, flawlessly, in less than a second. What really matters now is your judgment. It's knowing that for this specific problem, a binary search is the right tool for the job. That's the conceptual understanding that an AI just can't replicate. It's the why, not the how. So this is what the new core skill set is starting to look like. See the pattern here? It's not about creating things from scratch anymore. It's about directing, refining, and debugging. You're not just the person laying the bricks, you're the architect and the chief inspector. And that's exactly why understanding the fundamentals, like how different algorithms scale, is actually more important than ever. That's the wisdom you need to guide the tool.
You know, this change for Meta, it's not really just about their interview policy. It's a signal of a much, much deeper shift. It's about a whole new reality for the entire engineering world. For the last couple of years, the whole conversation has been about permission. Should we allow AI in the workplace? Is it okay to use it in our interviews? We've been treating AI like it's a guest that we might or might not invite to the party. But this move from Meta basically says that whole debate is over. The truth is, AI isn't just in the room anymore. AI is the room. It has become the fundamental environment, the very space in which we all work. And this is one of the first times a company of this size has just come right out and said it.
And that really leaves us right here. The question going forward isn't if AI is going to be part of your job. It is. That's a given. The only question that matters now for every single one of us is the one you see right here. How well can you work with it?